Hello everyone and welcome to the Lightbringers podcast episode 45. We are going through the core Guild Wars 2 story at the moment. We are doing a playthrough from the Guild Wars 2 core story to now, which in the future will be further on hopefully than when we currently are on episode 45, which is the 24th of March 2023. When you listen to this, there may be so much more story than is released. You never know. Could be potentially a thing. Hopefully, maybe.
I really love this, Jeb. This is great. This is great. By the time you listen to this, maybe, hopefully, they will have released more story like they always do and have done for 10 plus years.
I'm pretty sure they will have. I think it's just because, because in the last one specifically as well, people always said it was quite short as well. So I was like, oh, okay, well, they're just giving us time to catch up. They knew we were doing like... Yeah. I know. It was the intro. I was like showing you the art and stuff. That's it. I know. It's okay. It's okay, everyone in the stream. I know. It's okay. Everyone's here this week. We've got Proof, Rookery, Boots, and Fornax. We're going to be doing our playthrough. We're all in game right now as well. We're all together. We're all around level 20 something. Other than Fornax, because they are special apparently. I just realised then they are higher level than all of us.
I got a bit carried away with the tomes. Sorry.
Did you start leveling? I was leveling yesterday. I was leveling. I was there.
I was totally leveling. Yeah.
I mean, it's tough when you start clicking the tomes. You just don't want to stop. You know, you just want to go through the whole thing.
That's right.
It's so yummy.
That's right, indeed. We're gonna do a quick intro as well. So, in no particular order, Kroof, tell us what you do, where you do it.
Hi. I'm physically currently here, mentally in another dimension. I'm so happy to be here, but I also do videos over on YouTube, and I also stream here on Twitch. There's an asterisk on that, whenever I can find time. But I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to level up and do the story. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry. I mean, you can cry if you want, if you're happy, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're sad,
but no sad crying
no
here.
Sad crying.
No sad crying.
No ugly crying on stream, please.
Damn.
Wow, that was. Whew.
Start as we mean to go on, okay? I'm Fornax, the Crichton Herald. I make content on Guild Wars 2, for Guild Wars 2 on YouTube. And if you're looking for me, I'm the Crichton Herald pretty much everywhere. That's me. Thank you.
Ta-da! Boots! What do you do and where do you do it? Ta-da, etc.
Hi, Boots. You can find me on World of Enders on YouTube and also here.
Oh, Rookery. What do you do? What do you do?
What's up? It's me, the one who oftentimes emotional cries on the podcast. So I guess really the earlier threat was mostly for me, and I will take this into account and no more sad emotion crying. So you know what?
Oh, that's not sad though.
Gonna hold that in. I'm gonna lock it up.
It's okay.
Emotional.
I'm not used to anyone crying in my work. That's all.
Yeah,
so
no,
I just couldn't take it, honestly. That's basically why.
I do a lot of happy crying content, and that's
Oh my
That's
God.
it from here on out. Over on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv Rookery, that's ROOKURI. You can also find me on YouTube, where I do story lore stuff and playthrough content, where I have a lot of emotions, and sorry, sometimes it's emotion crying over there, not just happy crying. And here on this podcast, as well as on Aetherite Radio, which is the Final Fantasy XIV podcast I do on Saturdays. And you can find me on Twitter at Rookery_. I think that's all of them.
That is all the things. Everyone, please check out their information and bits and bobs in the description. No bits and bobs, just their channel links, unless they do other things I don't know about.
I've been taking so many nudes recently.
I've been doing.
I've been taking a lot of nudes, so those are going to be going up soon.
My knee nudes are ready. They're going up on
the
my knees.
The Lightbringers OnlyFans account will be up and running next week.
Oh, there's going to be a calendar next year. Yeah, it's just going to be.
Yeah,
that's true. Everyone that's ever been on the podcast, just naked. with their characters. Sorry, and their characters.
Yeah, unless you send money now. Unless you send money now.
Unless you
Stop
sub
it.
now,
Stop it.
50 subs, and we'll do it. Sorry. They're fine with it. They agreed.
Yeah. What we actually did was that we just made Boots dress up as all of us and take all the pictures. We kind of bullied him into it. So,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, end it before it begins, fam. Or don't. Get yourself a calendar. I'm just saying, it would look great on your wall. So.
That's true. That's true. And thank you for the resubs and stuff in chat as well. Welcome if you're live on 1 p.m. Pacific on a Saturday.
I may or may not have been in a nude calendar before.
No. Wait a second.
The top was as a joke. It was I'll tell you about it later.
Okay, all right, I'm ready. I'm excited.
Pics now.
I need.
No, there's no pics. There's no
I
pics.
think the point is that there were pics.
Amazing.
Hang on. Where's my love for my 18-month sub to the channel? Just
Oh wait,
saying.
sorry.
Just
Hey, this
saying.
is a live show. I don't call out
Oh.
subs during the show because otherwise it'd be, so it would just be madness. Everyone, thank you very much to Fornex, the Crichton Herald, for subscribing for 18 months of time. Thank you very much and welcome back.
Fornax, would you have asked for that if you had known that he was gonna use his voice changer like that?
I gotta be honest, maybe a little bit, yeah.
People love it. It just depends which one I use. So it really depends. We are on
Oh my god, I love Arca. That's very niche. If anyone who knows who Arca is in the chat.
I don't.
No, we're right in my head.
Anyone in chat who knows, you get nothing, but other than the admiration of Kriv, which is actually quite a lot, to be fair.
It's a lot.
It is. Okay, let's just go through the story. Where are we? We on the we did follow in the dreams, so call to service, the hounds on the horn. So we very much like the Nightmare Court were introduced as well, which was very fun, and we had to find the stag. We found the stag. We got some luck, as Boots told us in the in the pre-show bit. We're like, oh yeah, we got some luck, didn't we? So that's good. Now we're meeting Kaif at Dreamers Terrace. If you don't know what's going on and you want to know, you can listen to the previous episode and you can get involved with that. But what we're doing is we're playing the core story. The reason why we're playing Sylvaris was something the Fornax said, and basically was like, oh, it'd be cool to go through Heart of Thorns as a Sylvari, and I've never done that, so that would be that was basically the reason why we're all Sylvaris role playing hard. And we're all playing different classes. Boots is on a warrior, Fornax is on a ranger, Rookery is on a revenant, and Kroof is on a engineer, and I'm on a thief. I hardly ever play them.
Took one for the team.
Hey. Careful. Okay. You are on a fine thread right now.
Oh, I love
best
that Reddit
class.
thread.
You like the thread?
R/fine thread.
I mean, we love engineer. It's my favorite.
It is. I'm going into the instance though. Are we ready? Oh wait.
Yeah.
Also, just quickly looking at people's characters right now. That's Boots. Boots is being fancy with the monocle and with the outfit there.
No, that's not Boots.
No, that's me.
Oh, that's not Boots. Oh my god,
Wow.
sorry.
Wow, the
That's
fact
not
that you
Boots.
don't think
That's
I can
Kriv.
pull off like fancy and well dressed.
I did not say that you can't. I just
This
was
is concerning.
you know.
I like that so many of you went for the kind of green hues into kind of like pale white. Yeah, we got a little teal purple on you, Jeb. A
Yeah,
little bit there.
absolutely. The purple is purple and teal. It's teal jeans.
Not you calling us basic.
Are you calling us basic? Whoa!
Oh, you all just went
We did.
green for Sylvari, revolutionary.
I mean,
I will tell you the
What?
reason I went green is because I was copying what Traherne looks like. So are you saying that the developers of this game, for one of their most important characters, are basic?
Wow.
my character isn't green. It's white.
No, you're not all
Which
basic.
is even
you're
more
beautiful.
basic.
You're beautiful. This is the most beautiful salad I've ever seen.
Oh, Rook's not here for
That's what
1
you
week
call-
and just comes in and rips us all a new one. That's it.
Look, hey, I was subjected to a lot of socializing with my mom, and then I got COVID, so I had to come out swinging. I'm living my life now, sassing you all. I missed you. I made it through a trying week, and now here I am at the Lightbringers again. So,
And on that note,
Seriously,
good job.
it's lovely to see you well. It's lovely to see you well, Han. We missed you.
we're
We really
getting
did.
there. I missed you too. I missed you all too. I'm glad to be back, and I'm excited to play through Core Story and
Yes.
everything with everyone. So.
Indeed. And Kroof as well, who's not been here for like 10 years.
Hi.
Kroof has been away for like 3 weeks.
I've been working food retail. Enough said.
Oh, I'm glad you're both back. Don't go anywhere anymore.
We need a group hug for that at least.
Yeah,
I
we
swear
do.
that. Jesus, God, and
That's
mercy.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go in. I'm not sure if there's talking at the beginning. And everyone tick, otherwise I'll press cancel. There we go. Oh, look
That's
at
the
that.
be quiet. That's the be quiet, is it? Yeah.
Good old Keith.
Maybe.
I love Keith. I have had a journey with Keith. I, for a brief period, hated her because she stole my
Really?
dragon egg. Yeah. But
so
now
she did.
I've come full circle. I love Keith. She's got a great story.
Hi. It is good to see you once more within the grove.
It is hard for me to return. Each time I do.
Oh. God damn it, what?
I hate when that
Greetings,
happens.
Valiant. I want you to meet Traherne, another of the Sylvari Firstborn. Only a few Firstborn are called to wild hunts. I have the calling, so does Traherne. I believe he carries the heaviest burden of us all.
More difficult than fighting an elder dragon?
Our task is tangible, if dangerous. His is ephemeral. There may be no solution.
I'm glad to meet you, but I'm afraid we have no time for proper welcomes. There is a more immediate matter at hand.
Just before you arrived, a messenger brought news of 3 attacks by the Nightmare Court. I can aid one, Traherne another.
I'll take the third. Where do you need me to go?
They're besieging the Warden outpost of Follius Thorpe. Make your way there as quickly as possible, Valiant, and lend a hand.
Before you go, a warning. On my way to the Grove, I heard rumor that the Nightmare Court is seeking something called the Harbinger. They are determined to find it, whatever it may be. And based on that alone, we must stop them.
Understood. I'll head to Follius Thorpe right away.
Alias Thorpe.
Not that he's using an End of Dragons e-spec in the core game. Wow.
Now, I don't know about you, but both Traherne and Keith look mighty green.
I mean, they basic. Not to say that they're not good, but they are basic.
And there's nothing better than the basics, you know?
I mean, yeah,
I
basics
love
are.
white bread and mayo.
The way you said that was like audibly pained. No, I mean the green is very classic Sylvari. But one of the things I do love about the Sylvari is the fact that you can really push their color palettes in such fun ways.
Yeah.
Not that I'm always the best at doing that myself even, but I've been trying to expand it even more. But I mean, I think a lot of the Sylvari designs that we see, especially early on, kind of adhered to largely being green. Is Siren green?
You know what? It's not easy being green.
Yeah, the chlorophylls
Yeah.
and the chloroplasts.
That's right.
I just remembered I don't have any teleporter friends on my character, so I'm going to run.
That is so upsetting.
It is.
You've used a mount in the past. You could use a mount
I mean, I'm
again.
using it now. Yeah, I'm not running.
Okay. All right.
Oh, this is like a no mount
Conversation though of one thing. Actually, while I mess up. Last week we were talking about map story in conjunction with like the actual like core story and the main story, and we as I was leveling yesterday, I mentioned this just before as well. Like, it's quite cool that, you know, you've got so much going on with the Nightmare Court as you're kind of traversing through the map. What was the group you were talking about earlier, Crying Herald, that have been separated from the tree but not in the Nightmare Court? They're called the Soundless?
Soundless. The Soundless.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a bunch of those peeps as well. So in between, there is it does direct you to hearts that actually do talk about the story, which are kind of related to the story. So if you complete one heart, it's like really Nightmare Court related. So they have, it feels like they've maybe, I'm not sure if that was the way it was in the old, like back in the day, or if they changed that, or if they directed you to hearts that were kind of related to the story. I'm not sure if that was a thing they used to do. Anyway.
Hey, what are these
that was
creepy
cool.
faces?
Yes,
The
we've
corpse
talked about
collar?
that before. We've talked about that before on the podcast. When we did the world bosses. Is it where that?
Oh, the druid summoning. The druid
Yeah.
things
Oh.
in
Talked
the
about
top
that.
left of the map.
No one knew. Maybe Fornex knows, or maybe someone else knows.
I'm trying to get to where all of you are.
Oh yeah.
If you want to
I let Rook
teleport to
astray.
me, I'm right outside the instance.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
This has a
I
very
wanna do
creepy
a-
face.
Follow me.
Oh, I don't have
Let's
my.
go.
Okay, let's go, Adventure Time crew.
So when
so the
sorry,
the
go on.
druids were Crichtons who basically gave themselves over to the nature spirit. Think about Melandru, and they became these entities that were the like protectors of the forest. And you see them, examples of them in End of Dragons in the forest. They're kind of like, so the Kurziks had a version of them as like living armors that they made. So there's
the,
quite a bit of yeah.
Juggernauts?
Yes, exactly. So there's
And
a bit of
wardens.
overlap.
So yeah, are these faces like wardens that died, kind of, or?
That's the speculation that they used that as an inspiration. Yeah.
It does look so cool though. They're so cool. I do like this zone a lot. It's very awesome.
Caledon Forest is probably my second favorite starter map.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I love the,
Well,
the environment art.
I think, Rook, on our live stream, we should do Caledon regardless of what the polls say. I think at least once, because it's a fantastic place.
At some point, yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. There's a lot to take in these areas, and I mean, like you said, Jeb, I think it's maybe just because it's that mentality, like when you're an MMO player, and I think a lot of times in especially starter zones you kind of blast through them, but like a lot of the hearts do have information about, you know, different factions, groups, how life is kind of lived here. A lot of the map itself has little details that I think have a lot more behind them than most people probably playing through the story for the first time even took away from it, or might not even to this day have taken away from it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, the directing you how Obi asked how were they directing you, and they were directing you via the hearts. So they were like doing the kind of arrow pointing thing, but it was like kind of highlighted on the map, so there was like a little there's a little haze around it, and I went right past and I saw that thingy, the chair, the noodles, and I was just sitting on it thinking that was where you were. And I was just like, they look so good. I'm moving back over there now, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Are you coming
up.
to the story?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there.
Okay.
I had to go a really
coming.
roundabout way.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention like getting teleport friends would probably be useful, and I don't have any myself, so I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
And you don't have to. I do. As long as you're in the map, it doesn't matter. You get teleported, so it doesn't matter where you are.
We're here. We made it.
Well done.
I
And while
forgot about it.
we're waiting, talking about the Soundless,
Yeah.
they're actually a huge kind of foreshadowing of what's to come. This whole storyline is a huge foreshadowing of what's going to happen with the Sylvari and the protections of the pale tree, and what happens when you reject her gift and all the rest of it. So it's really, really super fascinating, especially this storyline that we're on right now, the Harbinger.
Awesome. Okay. We're
I
gonna
love
go
the
in.
music in Caledon Forest.
Yes. That's
So
very
light
true.
and cheery and ethereal.
We're defending in this, aren't we? Nightmare Courtier.
The nightmare.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens for the Sylvari moving forward.
Agreed.
Who are you? Are you another of these murderers?
Calm down. I'm a friend. Who are you and what's going on?
My name is Malik. The wardens took me in. They found me injured in the forest. I was here when the outpost was attacked. The wardens said these creatures are called the Nightmare Court. They've set fire to the camp and cut down everything in their path. We're outnumbered, besieged, and most of the guard has been injured. I'm all that's left of the defense.
Let me fight with you, Malik. I know the Nightmare Court, and I'd be glad to raise arms against them.
I'll have to trust you. I've no other choice. But I warn you, the wardens are under my protection, and I will let no harm fall on them. Help me drive back these villains, quickly. We must put out the fires before they spread to the forest.
I like that voice actor.
It is over. Now, we fight.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't recognize that voice too much in the game. Maybe this was just like a one-off. Maybe. I don't know. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good old Malik.
Yeah, Malik. I mean, Malik was, and to this day continues to be, this huge open possibility of like plot thread and stuff that I think people still want to see realized. And I mean, thinking about what I was saying like right before the cutscene started there, the Sylvari in their future, right? Not having a pale tree to guide you, not having that kind of force, or, you know, how are the Sylvari now that they are really out from underneath the draconic influence? Like, how are they going to grow and spread as their own people? How are the remnants of the Nightmare Court going to survive, blend into society, start new societies, with the events of Heart of Thorns and what happened after that? Like, there's a lot there that I think is interesting for the future of the race, because we kind of come in as a player on the turning over of the kind of old guard to the new, with the, you know, firstborn, secondborn situation, the atrocities that happened to Sylvari in the past, especially with Asura and stuff like that. And now we're really starting to see this fledgling race, I think, step out of the shadow of its early history into something else. So I'm curious if they'll explore that at all more down the road.
I think so. Everyone,
Yeah,
we
like
are
to return
supposed to
to
be
the-
like getting water and putting out fires while we're just standing. It's just like,
Oh, yeah.
I was
whoops,
listening
sorry.
to a very interesting question.
Oh no, yeah, of course. I was just thinking, a poor Sylvari. That's all. Well, not really. I'm not.
I'm
that
just
sad about
role
it.
playing as an NPC, so I'm not doing anything and just auto attacking every 2.5 seconds.
Perfect.
okay.
Well done.
Oh yeah, that's true. And not rezzing when you're dire because it's a core game.
Yes. I can only use 2 abilities.
That's true. All cow drops. There you go. Yeah, I think. Do you think so? That's a good. And you know, I'm going to ask this question, and I know a cutscene's going to come up. I'm going to have to stop. But like, oh wait, okay, it's going to happen. I'll ask in a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Chat has also said that Malik is not basic, which does make him the
True.
best Sylvari in the game. You're right.
He's not
That's not
basic.
basic right there. No, that's beautiful.
True.
Absolutely not. Look at his hair color.
I like his little
You
antenna.
fight well, stranger.
Yeah.
His little
grateful
pollen. They're
you
like
came
pollen
along.
stalks, like for a flower.
Forgive my initial mistrust.
It was in the heat of battle. It's understandable. Tell me, do you know why the
He's
Nightmare Court were
infected in
here?
The Last of Us.
It's not like them to attack the Wardens head on.
No.
I do. It seems that they wanted me. I don't know why. I've never met their kind before, and I'm certainly no friend to them. They kept calling me the Harbinger. When I resisted, the courtiers took hostages. They threatened to harm them if I didn't give myself up. I was willing, but Captain Banya refused to allow it. I'm a civilian, she said, and they were wardens. I told her she was a fool, and now she's gone too.
Whatever the Nightmare Court is planning for you, I can assure you it isn't pleasant. Come back to the Grove with me where you'll be safe.
The Grove? Is that where your people come from?
My people? You mean the Sylvari? Malik, don't you know about the Grove?
No, I do not come from these lands. I appreciate your offer, but I won't abandon the Wardens. I'll go with you after they're safe, and the Nightmare Court's been punished. The courtiers said they were going to Joy's End.
joy's end. Sounds lovely. I'll meet you there.
I love the sounds lovely, but like, sounds great. Thanks.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you get a leather bag there as
Progress
well.
leads to perfection.
That's quite fun. That was some good writing.
That was good. Okay.
So I saw the question in chat. Are Sylvari seeds of the mother tree? And I immediately thought, oh, Fortnite probably would want to answer that. But I mean, I think it is an interesting thing with Sylvari because they are plant-like, and they do emerge, as far as I know, right, from like hatching pods, which I assume come from the tree herself in some way, shape, or form, right? And yet they are made to model like organic flesh life, like humans and stuff like that. So they aren't purely plants, and we do know that some of their anatomy is actually closer to like humanoid races. But are they technically seeds? I'm not totally sure.
It's also interesting that they appear to be born wearing armor.
Yeah.
They didn't used to. Canonically,
Well, we
they
talked
were
about that.
naked.
Yeah, they weren't.
Sad. So sad. That
So,
was
I mean,
a
I
little
can-
element of fun world building that I really appreciated and was sad
Yeah, I
about
like
it.
that as well. Go on,
It's
Phonics.
true.
You guys say it.
I was going to say, I can give you the answers to these questions if you want. I don't
That,
want
I
No,
mean, that's not.
never.
Is that something that comes up in the story that we've forgotten about, or is it like a thing that we just?
No.
Oh, there
No,
you go.
not really.
Go for
No,
it.
so Sylvari are basically the fruit of the pale tree. They're humanoid because of the interactions that the tree had as the tree was growing.
Was that the
so we
heart you
talked
were
about-
talking about earlier?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so
Cool.
Ronan was the person who found the seeds that became the pale tree was called Ronan. He was a shining blade who fought in the war against the White Mantle. After the war, during the war he found a seed cave with plant monsters guarding it. He goes in. He managed to get one of the seeds. He carries it with him all through the war, next to his heart. And then he goes home after the war's finished. His wife and kid are dead. And he plants the seed over the breast of his daughter in the ground. And that is the grove. That is where the pale tree grew. And so she grew, being a sentient arboreal, she grew up around everybody who lived around the tree, and that was Ronan and eventually Ventari, and they it's like a hippie enclave where they accepted everybody. It was all about love and acceptance and helping one another and trying to heal from the war, and it failed spectacularly. Everybody died or went away, and then the tree was left alone with Ventari's tablet. And then a century later, she bloomed, and the first Sylvari, the firstborn, were the first fruit of the tree. And they are 100% not human. They can't reproduce. They don't necessarily bleed. They're entirely plant. They're entirely flora. So.
But are they like Venus flytraps who could eat meat?
I mean, I don't really think that there's like a real world equivalent of what's going on here. So, I mean, whatever works, man.
I don't think they
Whatever
eat
works.
meat, do they?
I think they
I
can.
think they can.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can
they do.
process it.
Oh, wow, okay. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think I'm actually kind of.
Roast down.
Check out my 4-year-old
You're a little bit
video
weirded out
for
by
that. Yeah,
Like, what? I assume they taste awful since monsters are not chasing after them. What, Sylvari? Oh my good lord.
I think it's like kale. You have to massage it with oil, the Sylvari, and then like maybe a little bit of salad dressing. It'll be fine.
Oh, Okay. Yeah, that would make sense. That
You
makes
massage
sense.
your kale when you eat it? You massage it?
Supposed to.
Oh, just like, ooh.
I mean, it's actually funny. Sylvari,
Oh,
because
it's so
their gender representation is entirely like social. It's because they don't have any chromosomes on the spectrum because they don't reproduce. They can't reproduce, which is another interesting element of the character and their future.
Interesting. Yeah, of course they don't. And romantic. Yeah. And that's interesting. They're driven by something else rather than the innate human.
I have
kind
a
of-
question about the Mordremoth's minions. when we get into Heart of Thorns, some of them are Sylvari that got converted.
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah.
Well, and then like powered up essentially.
I want to see that process. The power.
Some are turned dead humans as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Is there any original? I guess the Vine Tooths would be Mordremoth's minions that weren't Sylvari and then changed.
I think they're akin to like the fern hounds that we have, right?
Yeah.
That we see in
I'm
the
trying
Garden Forest.
I'm trying to see if there are
There are a bunch
minions
of
of
other
Mordremoth
races.
that aren't affected by the social construct of gender that the Sylvari are.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely with different races like Char, right? The I suppose you could say presentation of gender does not seem to be something that, I mean, there might be societally something, but there's not great gender dimorphism between them. And as far as I can remember, there's like no discussion about presenting gender playing any role within like a societal structure from the chart. Perhaps having cubs, but even that isn't necessarily something that Char are defined by because they're taken and raised by a different, like group. So I can't. So they might have a different conception.
So, originally, Char society was dominated by the Flame Legion, and the Flame Legion were bros. They were misogynist. They were the sons of Svanir of the Char, and they actually subjugated and wouldn't let the women, the females or female representing Char, from participating in warfare. They were for breeding only, and that was part of the revolution that you get to play through a bit in the original campaigns.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, unfortunately, huge
Interesting.
misogyny in the Char. Yeah.
Okay, in the history, in the history of the culture and overthrow. Interesting.
To kind of circle back to the Mordremoth question, I believe the more primal minions of Mordremoth would be your like Vine Tooths, Vine Teeth, your Thrashers, because I believe that any of the humanoid Mordrim that we fight are all probably turned Sylvari that were then
Even the
caught in
husks?
blighting trees. Husks we did see beforehand, so those are just more so monstrous creatures. We saw those before Heart of Thorns. So
Yeah.
I would assume that everything that we saw in the Silver Wastes and in Drytop are more of the direct creations of Mordremoth that are separate from the Sylvari. But then once we get into Heart of Thorns, I imagine that's when the Sylvari are turned and then plugged into blighting trees, and that's how they create such a dense population of human
Okay, so
creatures.
if the more pure creations of Mordremoth are these less humanoid versions of things, and the Sylvari representation is because they're influenced by Ronin and Ventari and all that, and that's why they present as humanoid with different genders. Why is Malik, who may or may not be from a different tree that hasn't had that upbringing, look exactly like a Sylvari?
That is an excellent question, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That is the question. Yes.
Yeah, Malik is a big point of giant question marks. like, how did they develop out there? Do they have some equivalent of like a figurehead that would be like the embodiment of their tree that then fruits them and makes them? I mean, it could very well be that there are humanoid populations, and there, I mean, maybe likely even are, on parts of the continent or elsewhere that we just don't necessarily know about or don't have contact with, or because all of, I guess the whole world, as far as we know with Tyria, is massive, and the amount that we see with like central Tyria, the maps and stuff that we have here is not even like a fraction of the rest of the globe, from my understanding. So it could very well be that, you know, there, with whatever there was with Mordramoth wanting to in some way, I think, create and apprehend life like many of the dragons and then manipulate that in such a way that it would serve his own purposes. It could be that there's some kind of like baseline driving force even with other trees or other seeds that drifted away from his control, where if they encountered other humanoid life they might mimic that. But yeah, I mean, it would be incredible to see Sylvari somewhere else that are some entire other kind of sentient being that don't look humanoid.
Raised by Char. Sylvari.
Oh god.
I will say that this isn't like the first rising. God, we have no idea how many times the dragon cycle has happened. And if you think back to Glint and the Masat and the betrayal, that whole storyline is about the sentient races of the time banding together to try and kind of survive what was happening. So Mordramoth has encountered sentient beings that kind of look head, 2 arms, 2 legs, torso, like people, in you know, inverted commas, 10,000 years ago. So it's not surprising that if they encountered these creatures who were very mobile and easy to maneuver and small enough to birth quite efficiently, that they would utilize that form for their servants in the next Dragon Rising. You know, I mean,
but the humans, if they are copying humans, those definitely came after the last rising. Jotun, yeah, but Jotun are quite large compared to Sylvari, and so are, I mean, the other things that it could be, the Kodan, the
Asura,
like a mix between Jotun and Asura, and they're like, hey, right in the middle, that's where we want it. That's the Sylvari. That's what we're gonna go with. Sylvari.
I mean, I'm pulling this out of my derriere at the moment, but you know, there were humanoid-y looking things about.
Okay, so shall we move on?
I am dwarves. That's it.
There's a champion at 30%. I'm killing it real fast. I'll get my champ bag.
Could be the.
Oh my god, you're all the way over there.
Mersat as well, I guess.
Yeah, you're champ back.
Get my levels. I'm about to die. Oh my god.
Is it almost dead? You're
Yeah,
level
it's
29.
at 4%.
Wait, how did you get to 45?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everyone's leveled up. We've got some we got some cheating going on here. What's going on?
What are you talking about?
Good lord.
All right. And
Simple directions. Simple directions.
I'm doing this for you.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
oh yeah, and
Is
Largo's
it dead?
here. This is such a strange map.
Is it dead, Crew?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna enter the instance. Dwarfs are middle. They're the best.
Dwarves
actually.
are mid. Confirmed.
They're better than basic.
Actually, yeah, no, there were dwarves. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
We're dwarves, of course. Dwarves are the best.
Yeah.
One of the eldest. Oh, they've got to be. I need more dwarf in my life, and then Guild Wars too.
Yeah. Dwarves confirmed for the next expansion completely.
If you can be a dwarf, then I will literally only play Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, but I want the girls to have beards, and flowers in their beards. That must be the thing.
Perfect. Would be so good.
That works. I'm good with that. I like his armor as well. It isn't like Sylvari cultural armor at all. It's very human-y. There we go. Okay.
So, Valiant, you did show up after all. Tell me something. These courtiers, do they come from the same grove that you do?
We are all Sylvari Malik, but they're of the nightmare. I am of the dream. You don't know the difference?
No, I've never heard
No,
of
he
either
clearly
one.
does not, girl.
You remember the pale tree, yes?
No. Look, we need to
Don't
get
you
the wardens back
understand
to
the word
Farrius
dream
Thorn.
means good
Here's
and
the
nightmare
plan.
means bad?
We infiltrate and sneak the villagers out. Then, revenge.
You're strange, Malik, but I like your style. Let's go.
We could steal their armor and wear it as a disguise, once they don't need it anymore.
I mean, he's got a little bit of an edge, doesn't he? He's not exactly fluffy kittens.
Oh no.
He's in between. He's like the middle ground, right? So there's if there was a nightmare and there's a dream, what's in between
That's
that?
enough.
A conscious world.
Purgatory.
Yeah. I guess it's the soundless mode, maybe. I don't
Nightmare
know.
and dream.
Centrist bar stool, yeah.
It is interesting why they didn't, because Really Geek said in chat they're not. I remember them talking about this. They're not interested. It doesn't sound like they want to go into it or will ever go into it. And it might be that they just never even maybe they didn't develop an idea. They must have, to a degree, developed an
for
idea around
Malik?
Malik. I'm gonna say
there
'cause-
was confirmation that it was a plot point in Heart of Thorns. However, due to the scope of everything, it had to get scrapped.
Oh really?
So they
Interesting.
have at least a 2016 version of
Is
what
there
they want to
something-
tell for Malik's story, if they still have it. But especially with the new restructuring of how they're telling their stories, we might actually see something with the Sylvari as more of like a one-shot type of expansion.
That'd be interesting.
A fractal would
that
have
would
been
be.
cool.
I mean, I like the idea though of like being able to actually have a full narrative story around it and things like that, you know? I mean, that's a good point, Karoof, because I think we've seen even with, we've compared this new format to ESO a ton, obviously, just because I think it has a most similar structure. But that is one thing that they've done with ESO in that these different, you know, like mini expansions, they've used them as moments to feature different racial, you know, maps, zones, story beats, cultural kind of stuff. And yeah, I think that if we are ending up going somewhere very different, or if we are going to explore other parts of the globe, or if we're going to go, I mean, if we go completely off planet, maybe not so much, but it makes sense to me that if they were looking at, hey, well, who could we put out here as somebody that could be a contact that maybe people have had an interest in seeing, or that could help be our gateway to this new world, I think a character like Malik would totally make sense in that regard, you know?
For sure.
I
Wait.
will say he was last seen headed into the heart of Maguma, so, you know, temper your expectations.
What was I supposed to do here? Locate the captives? We're supposed to talk to them? Oh, right, okay. I guess so.
When's the last time we talked to the pale tree in the story? Was it when
It
she
was
got
last time.
injured and was recovering?
Oh, you mean the recent? Oh, okay.
Was it like in season 2?
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to be going this way? Yes, there we go.
Oh.
Look at that armor. That's sick. The Knight of Embers. Oh, there we go.
Oh,
okay.
right.
Oh, wow.
I sent those fools to bring me the Harbinger.
Yeah, I wonder if she's ever
and
recovered.
instead they come back with whimpering wardens. Pathetic.
Probably.
You there. You're new. Can you follow orders, courtier?
Me? Yes, ma'am, m'lady.
Then you're in charge. Make these wretched wardens talk. Do whatever it takes. Hit them so hard the pale tree can feel it. They will tell me where to find the Harbinger, or they will die feeding nightmare with their agony.
My Lady Knight, may I ask, what is a harbinger?
He
It's
is
a
the pale
necromancer,
tree's doom.
that got a new
Nightmare's
elite spec.
indication. It's a dark hunt. When I find him, all will be made clear. Now go.
That armor that she's wearing on her arms, is it, what dungeon is that from? And the shoulders? Or is that the human armor? I can't remember.
Holding the wardens.
I don't know.
I feel like that's...
I feel like I've seen that. It must be cultural armor.
No, I think it's a dungeon
This
one.
may be
I
our
think
only
it's
chance to
a-
escape.
Nightmare
Wait,
Court 2.
Captain Vanya. Do you see what I see?
It's too humany. It's like metal.
What are you
Yeah,
doing
the
here?
shoulders and the
Wait,
arms
don't waste time
are
answering.
different. They're
Just
not cultural for Sylvari.
Give up?
Yeah.
So she used the words Dark Hunt, which is obviously a nightmare version of the Wild Hunt. Now, is that just they call it that because they're so influenced by the Pale Tree and what she does when they're birthed, or is there some entity giving them Dark Hunts as well?
They've probably got their own version, right?
It's probably more free will based.
Help
Everything
the
that you know
injured.
about the Nightmare
Stay
Court
close
is
to
probably
it.
just like
Take any weapons you
it's
find.
like when someone asks, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" They're probably just like, "Well, I'm now detached from the Pale Tree, and I get to go off and."
Yeah, it's like the emo version of Wild Hunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say their naming conventions are like real edgy. They're like Joy's End, Happiness Dies Here, like
It is-
Where You Go to Be Sad Cave. Like it's like okay, we get it.
It is interesting that she seems, I mean, I would be so curious about how all of this has lined up because like she seems to be alluding to something that would be beyond her independent knowledge, right? Like we as a Sylvari encounter the Harbinger, but we have no concept of even understanding in these story beats what that there could ever be anybody that came from not the Pale Tree. And you know, even though Malik is like, yeah, no, I'm not from there, and you're like, cool, but like you did definitely, your mom is my mom, and like, and there's like this moment of like awkwardness. So it is interesting that she references this Dark Hunt concept and that she is aware of an entity, almost in like what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you like see the future and you have a like a prophecy or like a, you know, that kind of situation where they have conceived of something outside of that. So like, are the dreams much more than just something the Pale Mother tells you?
premonitions.
Is it premonition? Yeah. Is it something where like all Sylvari are connected to some kind of larger subconscious network, and that
Because we are all
that
Sylvari.
it kind
All
of plays a
follow the
role
dream.
in how they might need
Can't you
to
feel
like
that we're related?
survive or operate or ensure the flourishing of the
Kind of a
plant
big
as a
story
whole.
thing going on.
Only a great sense of distance and loss.
You've been too long from the Pale Tree, that's all. When you return, she will heal your lost memory. Come back with me to the Grove. You'll see.
I hope you are right. I want to hear more about this dream. If your friends can help me, then I will meet with them.
Make your way south to the great tree near the shore. I will meet you there. We'll get to the bottom of this mystery, I promise.
Sorry, it was just a big bit about him.
So yeah, so right now we're working on the premise in the story that he is just a lost seed that hasn't, you know, has been raised away from the tree, and now we're bringing him home. But
Yes.
yeah,
Rook, do you want? Sorry, I didn't mean to like interrupt. It was just there was just like a big thing about him then, and it's for the audio peeps as well because they can't see.
But it is interesting, the idea of, you know, the Wild Hunt, because it does seem like something that is bigger than just the, you know, Pale Tree, or in the case of Nightmare Courtiers that are still receiving something like a Dark Hunt, their edgy version of it. I don't know if I think that, like Kroof was saying, that it's just something they chose or self-directed, because it seems like there's a level to it that, I don't know, is beyond their knowledge as individuals. So it's interesting. It's kind of ambiguous.
I mean, if you think about it, the whole journey that we've gone on has been directed by another champion of an Elder Dragon, Glint, right? Who also had the prophetic gift, like the Pale Tree, sort of being tapped into the kind of the mains of the planet and the mists and the multiverse, as it were, and seeing all these different possibilities and futures, and depending on how people behave. And it's intimated in the story that Sylvari are kind of always jacked in, like, to the matrix of the dream, right?
They're the Borg, basically, yeah.
So she, back there, she said, hit them so hard that the Pale Tree can feel it, right? there is a connection. Like,
Oh, yeah.
even Keith was able to be pushed into the dream at the very start by her because there's always that connection, which is why the Soundless tried to cut themselves off so desperately, because it is like a hive mind that's always kind of mulling over in the background.
Yeah.
And so,
which
is there
quite
a
scary.
hive mind of the nightmare?
There's
I don't know if
there's
that's
no
been
evidence.
answered.
Yeah, there's no evidence
Because
of that.
it seems like it would be useful to still have some connection to people. I mean, yeah, maybe they just have. Because I'm also wondering how it affects Mordramoth as well.
And how does it affect, like, Malik, for example? Does Malik have a connection to his tree that's like a hive mind to that tree? Is it totally separate? Are they still connected somehow? I don't know.
Do you think that they've like formed like a smaller collective, like a smaller
I think so,
hive
and I think
mind?
that's what changes for the Soundless, right? I think that's why Soundless are distinct from them. But I don't know if it's that they have a smaller hive mind or that they're still connected to the dream hive mind but are trying to corrupt it.
Yeah, Obi
definitely-
says in chat, like, doesn't know anything about, like, anyone. Like, yeah. I think he's totally separate. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the bit of dialogue that we missed, he said that he feels like a distant longing, like he's far away from something that's calling him. So,
Feeling
you
lost.
know,
Right.
Yeah.
So he's not aware of it,
And-
but there's a sense of it somewhat.
yeah.
I guess you
Okay.
could kind of write and chalk it up to how the dream and the pale tree were awake before Mordramoth, so any other trees or pods would have seen some influence, nothing to the point where they have such a strong connection that they would have a dream, but they still kind of mimicked the gender norms of like male and female bodies with Malik, but because Mordramoth wakes up later, you can kind of write around it, I guess, and be like, well, the influence of Mordramoth wasn't strong enough, so Malik got to be free, but still
Well, and
have a
also,
dream.
Malik's tree is somewhere near the Asura, that's why he's got the antenna.
True.
True.
Apparently that's a
Even though
male
I still don't
character
have
model
antenna.
on Sylvari anyway. That I didn't
Really,
know
the
about.
antenna?
Yeah,
Yeah,
apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Shroom.
didn't even see it. Is it the shroom one?
Yeah, mycelial power, mate. It's like a buff. Yeah.
I guess I always think of the Sylvari like the Borg in Star Trek, like I always have. It's always been that kind of collective, not the like, you know, I will take over your body and stuff, but like, you know, maybe that's Mordramoth style. But they had little collections and collectives of people where they all connected to each other in different areas, and they were like good Borg and stuff. So I guess like you could think of it in that way. Maybe they've got the Soundless maybe connect. I don't know. Anyway, it's
Well,
massively nerdy.
It's definitely like that when you get to Heart of Thorns, because
Yes.
I mean, if you think about a Borg army, it is a slave army.
That's right.
It is 100% a slave army. It's everybody is a victim anytime you have an interaction with the Borg, and it's exactly the same with every entity that we fight in Heart of Thorns.
And you said they take over human
corrupted.
bodies, right, as well?
Yep, they do.
So and that's what the Borg did as well. But they
Exactly,
were dead,
yeah.
though. And I guess the human the bodies that for the Borg aren't dead, I suppose. They're still alive.
No, they can be dead for up to 7 days, and the Borg can still assimilate them.
Oh, really? Was it 7 days?
I am a proper fucking nerd.
I am as well. I love the Borg. I didn't know it was 7 days. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was in it was in Voyager with 7 of 9, and it was a scene where she was talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, maybe I need to do a Star Trek podcast with you. I haven't watched. Yes, those episodes with Picard and the Borg are some of my favorite for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Locutus. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into the next bit. I'm loving it.
Da, 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 da.
I love.
I only just got that. Sorry, thank you.
Others, well, we shall have to see.
Massive nerds.
Nightmare
Massive.
Court is searching everywhere for this harbinger.
Harbinger.
They won't
Harbinger.
stop until they find it.
Whatever it is, we must find
Let's
it
find
first.
it first.
Yes, we can hear the words.
I know. I like pretending to talk like. I like pretending to talk like Traherne. I don't know why.
He's got a
You
good
Pale
point.
tree guides you.
need an English accent.
It's easy enough.
There's a lot of baggage that comes with this accent, mate. There's a lot of baggage.
Also, I don't think Traherne is originally English.
I mean, the Sylvari accents are English.
Right, no, I just mean the voice actor. I'm gonna look it up.
Oh,
we
no,
should have
yeah,
all
probably
known they were
not.
the bad guys. We should have all fucking known.
Oh my gosh. It's just the generic fantasy British accent that all fantasy everything has forever.
Yeah, it's kind of American-y, Englishy. Like old, like when they first got to America and like they were there for like 5 or 6 years or something and they developed into some weird accent.
It kind of reminds me of like the transatlantic accent, like the Cary Grant type of almost English side.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's the skill. That's the skill. Shall I? Are we ready? Like, if I do this, like, this is okay. We're gonna have a voice bit.
Keith, Traherne, I have a very strange story to tell you. This is Malik. The Nightmare Court believe he is the harbinger. Of what? We don't know. But they attacked those warden camps to find him.
Malik is your name? You feel oddly quiet. Strangely still.
When did you awaken at the Pale Tree? In what cycle? What did you dream?
Tree? I know no pale tree. I have had no dream. My first memory begins 2 weeks ago. I was lying by a river, staring up at an arched bridge. I was injured, and I wandered the forest from there, following the river until the wardens found me and took me in.
No dream? Perhaps you've only forgotten it. If you were badly injured, your memories could be damaged or lost. Perhaps if we look into the dream itself, we could find them.
Or we could follow the river and locate the place Malik describes. Maybe we'll meet someone who knows him and memory will return on its own.
I must know who I am to fight the Nightmare Court. Valiant, I trust you. Which do you think is the best method to find the truth?
Okay. Decide a course of action.
This is what is gonna decide if we choose the right one. We will have Malik's full story, and we'll continue.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, everybody just always picks the wrong one. Is the problem?
Okay, Cave's plan is we start where Malik was found and backtrack from there. Hopefully, it reveals his origins. Oh, okay. How certain we'll find something. Nothing is certain, Valiant. Remember, if you choose to go with me, you cannot change your mind. Okay. I don't want to. Who do you like more, Traherne? Okay. I don't know. Siramar is deeply connected to the dream. If any Sylvari has information about Malik, she will find it interesting. Sounds very interesting. I'd like to meet her. I choose your plan. What do you reckon? Which one gives us the most, you think, interesting?
Traherne.
I mean, what?
Okay.
Yeah, I think Traherne's, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably.
Okay.
Everything about the dream.
The dream.
We meet a super interesting second one if we do that one.
Okay, let's do that. I like your plan, Traherne. Let's seek the seer. I'm sure about this.
While the three of you speak with the seer.
Oh, well, there you go. You chose the wrong one. Now we're only going to get super visual information about Traherne.
Damn it.
I will meet you back
I
at the
love
Pale
that they're
Tree.
sleeping in little hammocks.
Yeah. It's cute.
Oh, Sylvari weapons.
Oh, I turned on the lamp.
First time. First time you get one, I think.
We need housing in Guild Wars 2 stat.
We do, seriously. Yeah, so I mean, they seem to recognize that commentary about Malik being like unnaturally quiet or silent. I would assume that probably means that he's not connected to any kind of
I don't understand why
other
you're so angry.
subconscious collective.
I wonder how that would break if you were taken away from it, I guess.
Choice and my responsibility. Why are you?
God, there's so many people talking in the grove right now. Can you please all shut up?
I left this quick
Jesus, go. Okay. There's a bug where the right choice isn't listed. Yeah, that's true. Confirm. Someone reading that. Confirm it. Okay, it's right here. Awesome. Let me know when you're in the map, people. Would you like to continue the story a different
If you guys are interested, we could actually like come back to that point on another character and then take it to the other person to see if you really wanted to kind of go like deep into the story. And nope. Okay.
I mean, no, I think
It's dream or nothing.
Yeah, dream or nothing. I mean, I think when I did my other Sylvari character, I did the, like, go look for somebody who knew him. And I feel like if it was something really, like, super significant, I'd be like, yes, like, you know, if it drastically changed the whole trajectory of everything.
As the wind.
But I feel like I remember it mostly just being that they kind of tell you, like, oh yeah, we found him, and like, I can't remember myself, but I don't remember it being something that's like so big that I think like us going a whole nother diversion, another character set, like kind of thing would be worth it personally.
Oh yeah. We can do. What we could do is we could do it like maybe in the future we could do it on like just if someone's got a Sylvari that's played through it, just pop that instance open. Yeah, I don't like that could be interesting. Record it maybe separately.
I would love for them to just make the personal story replayable so we can explore all the different story options that are already there. It's like, you know, new money for old rope, as it were.
That's true. Okay, is everyone actually in the map? Yeah, there you go. Okay, a different dream. Different one. Someone else had.
Look, it's Traherne, one of the firstborn. I've never met him. He spends all his time in ore. Don't you think he's strange?
Fine.
Not the gossip girls over here.
Rude, jeez.
It's a bit rude.
Our deeds are reflected in the dream.
Excellent, Jebro, Lightbringer. You're here. Let's call the Malik, or collect Malik, and head out. Oh, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go, Joe. Do, 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 do. Come on, Tran.
Oh my god, someone in chat actually knows who Cary Grant is. Okay, good. Excellent, sorry. Favorite film, Arsenic and Old Lace. Arsenic and Old Lace, if you haven't watched it, it's wild. Anyway, carry on.
Here we go, battle music.
My friend Amaranda spends her life meditating on the dream.
Oops,
She
no,
understands
the
its
story is
nature more than
going.
any other mystic or firstborn.
If she studies the dream, why does she live so far from the grove?
Because she is so sensitive to it, she can feel every ebb and flow, like the tide feels the moon. Only far from the tree can she gain perspective.
And this woman, your friend, you believe she can help me?
Yes. If the Nightmare Court has robbed you of your memory and connection to the dream, Malik, she will heal you.
And if they have not? What answer will she give us then?
Something true. The dream cannot lie. That is its nature.
It's all right. No matter what happens, we'll be with you.
Very well then. Let us go.
It's an important there, to be fair. Go on, Boots.
Certainly seems to be able to lie by omission, doesn't she?
Technically, is it lying?
By the way, I was muted that whole time. I was trying to ask, does other people not know who Cary Grant is? Is that
The
what's
Sprit
happening?
are in trouble. We must lend them aid.
Okay,
These rats, are they your pets?
All life is sacred, Malik. Come,
The
let's see
rats.
what's happened.
Oh my god, the squid. Yay. The best race in the game. Other than
Hello,
dwarfs.
babe.
Aw.
Oh no, he's a liar.
Aw.
Gross, little rat.
They're the best though.
I am my fury rising.
Oh man. You could have had an opportunity to be awesome. You decided to be shit, Squid. Shit, Squid. He is a thief as well. Didn't realize that.
Who is?
Malik.
Great justice.
Malik.
Also, his name
Be careful.
sounds a little bit
Sprit are
sinister.
usually friendly,
That's true.
but I would never call them tame.
A nightmare hound.
The Nightmare Court must...
That's enough.
I always feel so guilty killing these things.
The dogs,
know.
they're attacking us
Yeah,
They can't help it.
it's too much.
Yeah,
I feel
and
bad.
like when you become when you go into a disguise, you get to like pet the nightmare pups and stuff. And they
Oh,
just eat
yeah.
doggos.
though. In the heart.
Oh, cute.
You know,
Oh, the
not their
feels,
fault.
man.
Well, Maybe.
Poor puppies. I just want to rescue them all.
They're plants, though, aren't they? Who cares?
I like how you said that just as you were rapid shotting one of them.
Yeah. Well, you know, it needs must.
Let's put 15 arrows into this nightmare hound.
Oh,
damn.
Fast as the wind.
Jeez, I'd hate to know what you think of the Sylvari, Jebro. If you're just gonna write off all the nightmare hounds as just being plants.
Oh no, I have that. I have the
not
same
right
feeling
here.
about this Sylvari. There's no shade there. It's the truth.
Asura committed like war crimes. maybe
Stand your
maybe not
ground.
war crimes.
Stay
I don't know how
together.
you would say.
Watch out, it's a
Fast
stampede.
as the wind.
Shots fired, dude. Shots fired. That's
They're
not
truthful
on.
shots, though.
Crimes against humanity. That's what I would. That's how I would qualify it.
I am the Nightmare Court right here. I am the Nightmare Court. I am them. So.
I lost a cactus like 2 months ago. I still feel it, man. I'm so gutted. Poor little thing died.
Why? Where did you
Did it
lose
get
it?
lost
Jeffrey?
on your back?
It got mealyworm. It got like tiny little fluffy things, and then I didn't notice, and he died, and I was so gutted. It's just so sad. I have too many emotions. It's fine.
Get another one.
It's not the same.
It's not the
Thank
same.
you, Obi. Scientific ethics violations. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
It's okay.
They are sentient plants. So there's a big difference.
Intruders! Help! Help!
That's true. That's true, I guess.
Sit still and shut up.
Fury
We'll let you go.
Sit still and
after we
shut
capture
up.
the Harbinger.
They're so London. Sorry.
My mistress, the Knight of Embers, was right. She knew you'd bring the Harbinger to this false seer. Thank you. You've done most of my work for me.
If you've heard Amaranda, you will find that the wrath of a firstborn is something to fear.
How quaint. Are you going to hit me with a book? You're not Keith. You're not even one of the wardens. What are you, Traherne? A useless scholar studying a dead land?
And what are you but Nightmare's pawn? Watch where you're setting fires or your own house may burn.
Enough. The Harbinger's coming with me, with or without your agreement. I know which I'd prefer. Courtiers, to battle!
She's great.
Harbinger, kill the others.
I would love
Simple
more
task.
expansion content around Sylvari and like
Your
the
life
nightmare
belongs to
versus
the Grand
the dream.
Agreed.
She will find
I would even like I'm not a massive Sylvari fan. I'm mostly joking. I'm warming up to them a little bit more now.
know.
I just like more dwarfs. I like dwarfs more. That's why. I'm
What's
angry.
the status of the Nightmare Court after Heart of Thorns?
They have a new duchess,
Oh yeah.
Chrysanthe. I think they mentioned something about it. Like they're kind of just chilling.
Yeah, they're kind of hanging out, aren't they? They're just building.
Which I kind
their
of don't
houses,
like.
mate. You
I
don't
don't like it when
them?
all like the villainous groups end up just becoming like tame and they're like, oh, we're just gonna wait. It's like, what?
They don't. They've got to build up their forces again, though. You know. That's
I mean, yeah,
the,
plus you gotta know like when to quit. I feel like,
True.
especially in the case of the Sylvari, there comes a point when all of your people are being indiscriminately just kind of taken and turned into horrible monsters to serve a dragon, whatever your own feelings about free will, and it makes you recontextualize a lot of things, I think.
Yeah, you can't just
Yeah.
always battle against things. Although maybe that. No, I don't know. Seems like.
They are quite literally the dog that caught the car, right? They're just.
It's been what, like 6 years? They're fine.
Oh yeah, true. That's true. That's true. All right. I'm gonna initiate the chatter.
Traherne, my friend. I thought you were another vision. You're real? You're here?
Be at peace, Amaranda. Are you injured?
Only in spirit. I could feel Nightmare's icy grip. But now it has gone, and I am warm once more.
We came seeking your wisdom. This Sylvari, Malik, cannot remember his dream. Can you help him?
Gladly. Here, let me look upon you, sapling. Let me gaze into your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. She didn't know the mentalist.
Magic bubble.
A distant shore, and darkness, a root, a cave. You are the seed. What Ronan knew and never told still lingers in the dream.
What does that mean?
It means my fears are well-founded. You were not born of the pale tree, Malik. We cannot see your dream. You cannot see ours. I must return to the grove and speak to the pale tree.
Now I too understand.
Was she hiding in the
Grand
barrel?
Duchess hears
Yeah,
that she'll
she's-
send the
she's
whole of the
invisible.
court
She's hanging
after
out.
you,
She's in the
Harbinger.
box.
She was in a
She will
box.
never
That box is very small.
Not even when the grove itself is bathed in blood.
Oh,
Hey.
she's bugging off.
Now she's gone. She's back in the box.
The Nightmare Court now knows as well.
Only the Night of Embers. If we stop her before she reaches the Grand Duchess, we can keep this information from the court.
But we were to meet Kaith at the Pale Tree.
There is no time. We must track down this knight and silence her. Immediately.
Trahan's so forceful.
Yeah, we must do it immediately, he says.
Immediately.
Very slowly.
We'll say the Trehern's performance in Heart of Thorns definitely got a lot better.
It ramps up.
Kind of sad. I love Trehern.
You don't
I think it's
understand.
been actually, let me check. What is the storyline like?
Honestly, I think the Nightmare Court deserve a kind of a bookend to their story. I think it would be lovely for them to do something like that in the Stoic expansion format. Just to allow them to either, rise or fall or grow or have some sort of development. Because they're kind of super stupidly generically evil. A lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, they have interesting ideals in the general context of their setup. This idea of, yes, wanting to seek independence, free will, and forge their own kind of place in the world and hierarchy in the world. And I like all that, but I agree that almost all of the ones that we meet and speak to really do have that I'm evil kind of vibe to them.
Especially the first one that we did with the White Stag, Gavin.
Gavin.
Oh, Gavin,
from
the
Accountant.
best character
Yes.
in Guild Wars 2.
So
literally.
Gavin is presented to us as just a guy looking for the White Stag as well.
Sorry.
And then it turns out, he's actually part of the Nightmare Court looking for the White Stag in order to turn the White Stag evil. And
He was
then
our friend as well for a minute.
he was our friend as well for a little bit. It was interesting because so he's like, no, you don't understand. Some people in the Nightmare Court are bad, but not everybody. I'll show you how honorable some of us in the Nightmare Court is by fighting you to the death, my friend.
I remember that, yeah. That's funny.
I'm gonna fight you to the death. And then we're just like, okay, that sounds normal. I'll kill you now. And then we kill them. Because we also agree that fighting to the death is a good idea to solve our disputes in this situation.
Yeah.
That's why I want more
okay.
from the Nightmare Court, because there isn't a whole lot of nuance that we know now. But I think with a new Duchess and a new direction, they're probably they're still a little bit evil, a little bit stab you in the back a little bit. But I would hope if they ever do decide to go more into the Nightmare Court, that it's more fleshed out than just something a little flat. Which, for a beginning a game and setting the foundations, I think is totally fine. But now that they have all the groundwork done, and Fowlin, spoilers, is out of the question, I'd like to see how it's changed over time.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just grab this instance because I can't see it. There we go. Are we all in the... Oh, there we go.
I forgot to... I pressed it, but then I didn't press
It's
it.
okay. It's okay. I like that artwork. That's good. Can't remember that art. Oh, here we go.
This is the place. The Night of Embers will be waiting to meet the Grand Duchess. If she is allowed to tell Fowlin the truth, the results will be disastrous.
Why, Trehern? What aren't you telling us? This is my life. I deserve to know the truth.
You're right. But yours isn't the only life in danger. I'll tell you the truth, and then you must make a choice. My research has led me to believe that the Pale Tree is not a unique creature. Legends say her seed is one of many found in a cave. That cave has never been found, but it seems at least one of those other seeds was planted. It sprouted the tree which bore you, Malik.
If that's true, there could be other cities of Sylvari. Other groves.
Groves untutored by Ventari's tablet. Do those Sylvari dream, I wonder? What inspires them?
If Fowlin finds out, she won't need the grove. The court will burn the Pale Tree to the ground and find one they can more easily twist to nightmare.
Yes. If that happens, the Sylvari race will be no more. Tyria will fall into darkness.
No, I won't let that happen. If I must die to keep this secret, I will do so.
Then we have only one option. The Knight of Embers must die.
Sylvari really
I'll stand with
turns straight. Like, this is 2 instances now where there's a deep secret about the Sylvari that they have to kill the person who knows about it.
Like Gavin and now this other person. I have a question.
No, Gavin, not Gavin. This other person, and when Kate killed her friend.
Right. Okay, yeah. I have a question.
Her sister Wynn, yeah.
I have a question about this, and this might be something that I just don't know because I maybe didn't pay attention or I don't care about the Sylvari. But I do now. I do care. This is why we're doing the podcast. So the Sylvari that we know, they are influenced by Ventari tablet, right? The teachings. So with the seed for Mordremoth, right? Like Mordremoth is just what Ventari was to the Grove. Like, sorry, if that makes sense, like to that seed? Is that what Mordremoth was? Specifically?
I think the big thing is like the Mordrim don't really have free will. They're overly dominating, which is what the Nightmare Court originally going into it, people were like, oh, is the Nightmare Court going to become a part of Mordremoth? But they actually rejected Mordremoth as well because Mordremoth, and Fallon says, is more oppressive than the Pale Tree. So it's not necessarily the same where it has that influence on free-willed people. It's more so just Mordremoth using Mordrim and his creations as a tool.
But he was the beginning to influence them originally.
Puppet master.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's similar to like Ventari's tablet that was like planted with the seed in a way. That's the kind of beginning, I guess, that I'm trying to ask about.
So he's like the progenitor. He is the source.
Okay.
Because the champions, it's his creation, but he is asleep.
Okay.
Season 1 is him waking up, so he is asleep. So this is what the Sylvari or the other Sylvari are like without influence. They're just neutral. They are morally grey. They're like the grey Jedi. They can turn to evil. They can turn to good. They have free will. But once he wakes up, because he's the jungle dragon and of plant and mind, he completely subverts their will, and then they are the Borg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have another question.
I do have more,
Okay, well, I have quite a few questions. One of the questions was, how do those seeds get to that cave? But that's for another story. I don't think.
Yeah, that's where my brain is like going a bit wild with
erosion
this
and weathering and the
no, but my other question is this: how does killing these? I mean, fine, killing the Knight of Embers in order so that the Nightmare Court doesn't know about this, fine, I understand. But killing Wynn, because aren't we all under the supposition that all Sylvari are connected to the dream and everything that they know and learn gets fed back into the dream?
I don't think but they don't know, do they? There's just got a feeling. It's not like,
No, they would know.
No, like what? Really? Killing, or does just only the Pale Tree get that information? And then the Pale Tree gives some of the information to her. I don't
think that it's like a mind reading thing, is it? Like she had to do like in the last instance for her, and she had to do like a specific ceremony to understand some idea of what was going on with them, right?
Because the only reason it would make any sense to kill Wynn back then is if only the Pale Tree learns what her Sylvari see.
No.
Yeah, I get the impression that it's more ambiguous than that. I mean, we just saw that like there is a member of the Sylvari race, right? The Seer, who has a very strong connection to the dream and seems to still be able to take information out of it. But I would imagine it kind of operates like a subconscious in the sense that like sometimes things might like rise to the surface in like your subconscious. Like you might go, oh, I'd forgotten about this, or this is some underlying thing that now it's starting to make sense about why I behave this way, or something, you know, a reaction I had, or those sorts of things. But that it's not like you can at any time like access that for the vast majority of your existence, like as a person. It's not like you can just like access any information you need straight out of something like the subconscious. So I kind of get the same impression for Sylvari that like the Pale Tree, because of how all-encompassing she is, and because of, you know, it seems like it's a unique phenomenon to her offspring and her tree. Whether or not other trees have similar things, I mean, we don't know, but Malik came from a tree and does not seem to have a connection to a dream. So, like, it's interesting with her because you would assume she is an entity that exists and encompasses all of that. And then, like I see chat talking about, like, she can hide various pieces of information or make things more obscure even, so that maybe even those with great sensitivity couldn't be aware.
Long story short, it seems like, yes, the Pale Tree knows what Wynn has learned. But the rest of the Sylvari don't, because it's fed through her, and then she retains information before giving it to other Sylvari.
So, Kaith kills in the instance in season 2. We see Kaith kill Wynn because Fowlin is literally going to pick a plant that exacts poisonous damage, and she's going to
it's the exact same
torture
situation.
Wynn. She's going to torture Wynn there and then to get the information out of her. Right?
Yeah, so you're saying Kaith isn't protecting, or isn't killing Wynn to protect the other Sylvari from the knowledge, it's to protect, it's to not give it to the nightmare.
It's not to give it to Fowlin, because she could see the darkness in Fowlin. And I would say that if you think about the Sylvari dream as like a river of consciousness, if you try to like drink from a fire hose, you're not gonna know what you're hitting. The Pale Tree herself is like a conduit. If you think about how like Aurene is a conduit, she is a conduit for the consciousness of the people that she's given rise to, and so she can filter the information. Of course, she knows who she is and what she is. She's a dragon champion. She knows it. That's why she created the dream in the first place, to protect her children so that they couldn't be weaponized against the rest of the world. But she's compartmentalized and obfuscated the truth from everybody, including her allies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring.
Good stuff. Thank you for that
That's
information.
so interesting. I had not thought about the Pale Tree as being Mordremoth's champion, but
She's basically Glenn.
you're right. I mean, it's really interesting, though.
This is why this podcast is so good.
She's also a big asshole. She's a big, big
huge
asshole.
Yeah,
Huge.
I agree with that. Fuck yeah. The Sylvari are massive assholes. Sorry for the F-bomb. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I always liked her, but I do think that she...
She's awful.
Well, sorry, everybody. Sorry. I do think that she...
We need to continue with this story. Group is going to start crying soon.
It's very interesting, the idea of what you protect others from, or like, I mean, it's the great thing about the great discussion about parenting in general, right? Like, how much control or how little control do you have? And in like the case where you're in a magical situation in which you literally can just like obscure things, direct your people, and do all these things in like this very specific way that's invasive.
She's very... have anybody seen the 3rd season of Westworld?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's basically the AI that's leading humanity at that point, but it's the Sylvari.
No
Also,
spoilers.
people,
No spoilers for people.
Don't lie to your children. It never works. Don't lie to your kids. That's as a parent, don't do it. Yeah.
Should I kept the disguise from Joy's end. Dress up, act like you're escorting me, and we'll get past the guards. Oh, okay.
Are you gonna be charming, dignified, or
doing the fist?
Oh, you're gonna be ferocious.
If they ask, tell them I'm your prisoner and be surely, very surely, surly, not surely, surly, very surly. It'll work, fine. Just give me the clothes. Are we all gonna have clothes? We are. Now we're basic again. Basic. Sorry. Be basic with me over here. Let's go. Actually like this armor, it's not too bad.
The coloring is pretty atrocious, though.
Yeah, that coloring is not good. That's true.
Very vibrant, shall we say.
I'm not into
pomegranate pink.
Yeah. Pomegranate pink. I like the Nightmare Court armor you get, though, from the dungeon. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Ouch.
Good.
Ouch.
What? I haven't seen you two before. What do you want? 2? There's like 7 of us, including a pet. We have critical information about the Harbinger, you twig. That one. Get out of our way. Really? The Knight of Embers must be expecting you. Quickly, go to her and tell her all you know. On our way, Bob.
Hey, I did it. Everybody, I did it.
You broke through.
You did it.
You did it. It was all you, Boots.
It was my tenacity.
There you go. You can touch a hound without it killing you, or wanting to touch you back in a way which is this not very nice.
Let's poison them.
What?
That was a really strange sentence.
It's very odd. My brain is still grappling with it.
Oh no, this is my way. You know, the way. It's my way.
Love your dog, don't love your dog.
I love whey protein.
What happened there in that cutscene?
I don't know. It's just like,
you know, it's not a great cutscene. Some of these early instances are a little weird.
What happened there? I'm just like massively confused. It was
we
like
were discovered.
You went into a tent and now your camera is shaking.
They said you have been uncovered. Oh no.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Griff. Use your voice acting ways.
Your performance there was almost as moving as Traherne's.
I'm loving these banners, by the way. Thank you, Boots.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's the only reason I became a warrior.
Oh, imagine that. The only reason why I became a warrior was banners.
Yeah, they give you guys
great.
thickness.
Well done.
Traherne sounds like a baddie sometimes. Well done. He just does.
Traherne, a baddie.
Traherne's one baddie. Wow, double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
Wait, what?
Traherne's a baddie.
A baddie. Didn't you say that when you're like kids, like baddies and goodies? Was that not a thing in America?
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Oh, it is a
taken
thing.
a different meaning via social medias and the news.
Oh, no, really? There's a new wording around that?
Yeah.
Do I need to know?
It's like someone who's hot and very attractive and is like, ooh, they're a baddie.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, bad boy,
That's very
I guess.
new.
Yeah, that's silly.
God damn, I'm old. God damn it. Anyway, carry on.
Luckily, we have Kroof here to tell us these things.
Yeah, well, I'll keep you up
today.
I'm like your patcher, but for real life. I'll give you the patch notes.
We appreciate it.
Here we go. We got the fight. Is she champion still? She is.
Traherne is a baddie. I'd let him do things.
Wow. CC everyone.
Lamia of the Feathered Death.
Oh no.
I will say, they went whole hog with the naming of these NPCs that we kill in 2 seconds flat.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate.
Oh, they're
and like the
individually
titles themselves make them seem like such grand bosses. And that's why I want like modern content for this, because it's like it'd be cool. It'd just give you that like medieval knightly court aesthetic.
Okay, wait. He says, don't let her summon a horde. Don't attack the necromancer. I want to see the horde.
Yeah, I sometimes feel very bad because they die so fast, and I want to like appreciate the work that went into like.
Okay, their horde is 2 bone feeds.
Soira the Dream Eater. I
Wait,
mean,
what's
that
the
is a
buff?
great
Rending
title.
claws. Why does she have rending claws for 9 hours?
Because
It is all
I don't know.
that I do.
It was
New
Mending
release
Claw
spec.
supposed to be a
Nightmare take your
buff?
souls.
Also, you are able to sometimes see like old alpha design in these early chapters.
Now I have another question.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So Soira just said, death
No, you
is
can't
all
ask
that
any
I
questions.
dreamed." Oh man.
There you
After
are.
this.
The pale tree told me where to find you. I have to tell you, Malik's tree...
We know. The Nightmare Court nearly found out as well. It is for the best that the Knight of Embers is dead.
Still, this is only the beginning. Even if they don't know the reason, the court will keep searching for their harbinger. If I stay here, others will try to convert me to Nightmare. They'll discover my secret.
He's right. Fowlin will hunt him, and I promise you, she does not give up.
Somewhere to the west, at the source of that river, there's another tree. Maybe even another city, with more Sylvari like me, my family. I'm going to find them. When I do, I'll tell them about the grove, and I'll return with an army to help fight the dragons.
I wish I could go with you, Malik, but my duty is here. I wish you good fortune and safe travels.
Hey, good luck, Malik.
Don't worry.
Good luck, bye,
We'll
bud.
meet again someday.
Sure, you'll be fine.
Damn it, I wish I'd print screened that. And just like tweet it to them and be like, hey, our internet. We were like, promise this thing. He said promise.
Oh, I got a new skin.
Ooh.
Yeah, there is a
Harper's
skin
book.
there actually. The evergreen one.
No, this.
Yeah, this is a cultural skin. Normally you had to just buy those, so this must be a new edition, perhaps.
I think it is, yeah, because you get the spirit shard there as well.
Yeah, when they restructured the leveling, no, actually, this is a story step. I think in the story steps around this time, you get one piece of the tier 3 cultural, or the cheapest one. You could choose from one piece. You get it from all the races, yeah.
I don't remember getting that from Norn though. I remember that leveling quite well. Maybe you did.
When did you last level a Norn?
It was like last year.
Okay, that's not too long. That's not too long.
Oh, maybe it was.
You probably got it.
Must have, I guess. I don't know.
So
Cool.
my question was this:
Either way, it's
since we all seem to be agreed that the Pale Tree retains information and gives out just enough information to the Sylvari to basically rule their lives and get them to do what she wants them to do, is there any possibility that, like, what's her name, Moira or Doira, whatever the necromancer's name was, death, it's all that I dreamed, it's all that I dreamed about. Is it possible that her dream when she got started, her wild hunt, was to, I mean, eventually die, but to become, a necromancer for the Nightmare Court? Is it possible that the Pale Tree is feeding some of her children dreams that turn them into nightmare courtiers in order to create an ever-ending battle for her other children to fight, and therefore just like, you know, in made up conflict just to keep them going for a while in order to eventually do something that she wants them to do?
You know, I'm not opposed to that theory. The Pale Tree picks and chooses her favorites, and this is a topic of everything is predestined. Which I kind of like, as like the Pale Tree as kind of this godly figure to the society. It's very interesting. It wouldn't be far off.
Yeah, it's a dark idea, but it's a dark theory. But I mean, maybe it could be one of those things where groups always identify themselves and have a stronger sense of identity when they are comparing themselves to another group. Like, we see this all the time in culture. We see this in, you know, like discussions and analysis of cultural studies or like societal studies, that like if you can define it, it's not just about what you have in common with people, it's also about what makes you different from others. So we are not them, we're us because of X, Y, or Z. So like, would it be a really evil, really terrible, brilliant social experiment to be like, I made some of my children be the them in the us or them equation? Like, yes, but like, I don't know. I don't know if I think she has intentionally done that. But it would be really intense if she had.
This whole time, she's just creating fake struggles in order to.
I mean, she's like a god, right? I mean, I don't know. Kind of makes sense. Could be a fun thing.
Yeah, but to point out in the chat, it is not necessarily a destiny. It is something
I know
to
it's not a destiny
to get to, but even with that aspiration can lead you into different, like if you get pre-programmed with a certain darker aspiration, you know, become obsessed with it maybe.
Truth. One thing is, we've actually finished that story for this.
Wow.
For this thing. Wow. That was a quicker one, but it was, yeah. So generally, like with that, so think about the story section we did, level 20, with the way we went. How generally do we feel that is like maybe think about it as a new player or a person who's just coming back into the, you know, a vet, going back and playing the story? Does it still hold up? Is it still pretty engaging? Like, how's the combat? Like, general thoughts and feelings. What do you reckon, peeps?
I don't think the combat matches what it needs to at the current day, but that's kind of like a blanket statement for a lot of the older content. It in parts feels overly easy just due to the nature of power creep over the years. But I don't think any new players should really encounter any hard blocks. So it's easy to get through, and I think for early level and early story, it should be relatively easy. So I'm not super critical about it, but going into the higher level zones in ore, that's where, you know, we'll get to a feeling of how difficult those zones are.
How did you die, Jebro?
Oh, I was just versus like 3 Nightmare Court and.
Oh yeah, no, those are tough.
The Nightmare Court. We've been going versus them. Okay, so Griff. And what about the story, Griff? The story. Enjoyable? Fun? Interesting?
I'd say for this section, it's difficult because there really isn't a linear story experience for the early levels until you reach like level 40 and onwards. Yeah. So it really just depends on what you pick. For me, this whole Malik situation, it's great because of the mystery and because of the setup. Yeah. But in terms of a payoff, it goes nowhere. So in part, if I had to grade it, it's not a great story step, if I'm being honest. But because I'm a fan and I love this, it leaves me wanting more. But the fact that it hasn't been paid off of, it like is on a technicality not great.
So maybe you would, if you didn't know what was happening afterwards, maybe you would feel differently. Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Sense. Like if I had just played it, I'd be like, oh my god, they're gonna totally answer this question, and then it's just like nothing. So it's kind of useless.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Fornax, what do you think?
I mean, I love the setup. I love the kind of the ambition that the game started with. I think it's got a scale and scope which is, I mean, if you think about the humble beginnings of World of Warcraft, this has like the story has legs, right? They have a grand vision for it. But I have to agree with Kroof. It's I'm very sad that we didn't get the Heart of Thorns that they wanted to give us, right? So for like the Nightmare Court had a whole storyline around this, a whole realization around the fact that they'd given up one master to be shackled under another one. There's a whole like row. A whole other lane in the end of Dragon's Stand for the Sylvari and that court, for the Nightmare Court, and a Grand Duchess at the end helping to bring down the dragon. And I think they really deserved that storyline, because I think they really deserved to understand who they were, why the Pale Tree did what she did, which is understandable. And I think it would have enriched the storyline for Sylvari players, because as a Sylvari player going into Heart of Thorns, it's like a gut punch. Because you think that you were born to... The story very much like pumps you up to think that you were born to fight dragons. And then in season 1 and season 2, you have this like creeping sense of dread that, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then boom, your people are attacking your allies, and there's no, and although there is catharsis at the end, I think that there's a whole like plethora of story that they could really like dive into, and I think that this is like a tasty taste, like the breadcrumbs, and I love it. I wish that they'd have been able to give us what we deserved and what the story deserved.
Yeah, I definitely agree with, I think, both Kroof and Fornax's thoughts on a lot of this. It's tough because no matter what, right? Storytelling and devices for storytelling will evolve over the course of an MMO's lifespan. So I think it's very rare at this point that almost any, at least established game that has been around for a bit, has their peak storytelling, their absolute best cinematics, their best everything, right in the opening release of the game. So like in those ways, it's tough because I mean, yes, this was all designed and made and done like 10 years ago. And in those ways, I think the story does show its age. However, I really like what you said, Fornax, about this world has legs though. And I think that's really important because compared to something else, compared to like when I was first going through something like World of Warcraft or, other games, there might be an interesting world setting. There might be things you can still dive into. But I remember when I was first trying to play WoW, I was like, what? Like, is there a bigger plot? Or like, is there like a story that I'm gonna play through? Or is it just, I just pick up all these quests and then I guess I just turned them in, but like I didn't really do anything. and like, of course, like there are story beats that'll happen eventually, but from like a cinematic narrative experience, I do think that Guild Wars 2's core game, I do think like, especially the Sylvari and especially these chunks of story do have some legs to stand on. There's intrigue, there are mysteries about the world, there's lore that's revealed to us. We're sitting here discussing ourselves, like what it means to be Sylvari, what it means to be a part of the Dream or collective, what it means to be a faction that's opposed to that, and all these different figures and groups, and then discovering that there is this other way of life when these this group of people have thought there is no other way of life is really interesting as like a premise. However, I think that some of the age of the storytelling shows we were talking about the voice acting or, like narrative payoff, or even just in the way that some of these scenes are delivered. The like stand against the backdrop it's charming and nostalgic, and I like it sometimes, but oftentimes I feel like, especially in the core game and especially in these big beats, it robs us of cinematically seeing dramatic action, where like, rather than like walking up to the camp and seeing this mysterious seer who's like over this fire having visions and all this stuff, right? Like we have whatever little moment where she does like an action thing or we fight somebody, and then we cut to the standing in front of, like awkwardly standing in front of a backdrop with like no dramatic action. And then we just like cut back to whatever's happening. And so in those ways, I think it undermines a lot of the dramatic impetus, even down to like some of the villains and stuff, right? Like we've never really seen a super cool shot where all the villains of the Nightmare Court like have been revealed so that we know these people with these cool names or what they've been doing in this society or like how this all works. So like, while the narrative is there, and I do think it gives us something to grip onto for later, I think that the way that they developed so much of their storytelling would become much more interesting, much more visually dynamic, as well as gameplay immersively dynamic, more intricate and complex and unique mechanics or fights or memorable kind of encounters in those ways. So like, I don't dislike this story beat, but like everybody's saying, I think the payoff doesn't quite happen with it ultimately in the grander scheme. And I think that there probably would have been more interesting and dynamic ways to tell this story using the tools they have now even. Those are my thoughts. So like, I enjoy these story beats, and I actually do like a lot of the Sylvari story content because I think it has some of the more interesting moments in it. But I think it could have been so much more memorable, with like some really, really good distinctive characters, cutscenes, some good setup, and then eventually some good payoff with things like Heart of Thorns for those stories.
Yeah.
Okay. Beats,
I think
you wanna...
I think this Malik story had a lot of potential, so much interesting setup in it. But I think, long story short, I agree with you guys. I think that what going through the story now does is it just kind of exemplifies how much Arena has improved their storytelling methods over the years. The way they deliver the story is a lot better nowadays than they had back at release.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna say that I'm really enjoying. I guess it's different as well. My opinion is based off the experience I'm having right now in the podcast, because this week and last week, you know, I learned a lot more about just other people and their knowledge. And I think if you're gonna play this from the beginning, not knowing much about the lore of Guild Wars 2, if you can find someone who really, or like some videos that accompany it, I believe there's some people that do such content, that would be a good side. That would be good content to have alongside this stuff, because I found it fascinating, like all of this stuff, because I really do sometimes, I just don't pay attention to a lot of this, and it is actually very interesting and very awesome.
Yeah,
There's a lot
the Malik
of,
story is really interesting.
I really love that. It's great.
It asks so many questions about the nature of Sylvari and what the heck's going on. The only problem is that you get some answers, but not all of the answers.
Yeah.
And I think too, having the villains be so, like we were saying, so over the top detracts from some of the complexity that's there. Like, oh, I would just love to see. I mean, you have to have villains in an MMO, right? Like, it's in these kinds of stories, you need it. But like, how cool would it be if your like personal journey as a Sylvari through that personal story had to do with your own, like coming to your own terms and understanding? Like, you know, do you think the Nightmare Court are at fault? Is there a point at any time where you're going, you know, maybe actually they are doing the right thing, and I don't know how much control the Pale Tree exerts over me. Like, why do I have loyalty to the Pale Tree? What does it mean to live outside of this? Like, all the pieces are there, and Malik is so interesting as a foil for all of that. But it's really tough then when I think like any opposition or voices outside of that are like so over the top theatrically villainous that I
think this might be a true representation of what would happen if a 25-year-old race is put into the world, that where all of them are taught all of this goodness, like to be ridiculously like good on the righteous path all the time. And then so most of them are taught this, and then some of them are like, I don't want this. How about what's the other option? The other option is the complete opposite of that. I'm gonna be, I look at villains on
so bad.
Yeah,
I'm not your good Cinderella. I'm your bad Cinderella.
I mean, it's a very young race, and they're acting it.
That is very true. That is very true. And they're taking, it's almost the, I think someone said naivety of them earlier, which was a very true statement. I don't know.
But frankly, I would prefer it if the Pale Tree was just a puppet master that is creating the Nightmare Court, as well as, you know, theatrical villains just to be theatrical villains in her little play.
Potentially.
I mean, just imagine if we had an Emmett Selt type figure as the head of the Nightmare Court. Just imagine how interesting and nuanced that would be, and the kind of the allure of the darkness, because I don't find anything alluring about the Nightmare Court. You know, it's not appealing. It just seems mustache twirlingly stupid.
Oh, I mean, that now sounds appealing, honestly.
I do like darkness is supposed to be the dark side is supposed to be attractive. That's why like the Empire's like architecture and interior design is on point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked your point, Boots, about if you have been constantly ingrained with this tablet, these guidelines for goodness, that like, yes, in your immaturity, in a sense, if you wanted to revolt against that, you'd be like, I'm gonna do all the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
I do actually think that I had not contextualized the Nightmare Court as being that. And like in a way, it does make sense then that it seems like they're almost playing at being evil because like they kind of are. Like they're sentient, they are grown in a set, right? Like it's not like we're dealing with the actual developmental physical processes that distinguish children and their ability to process things in the world versus adults and all of that. But like they have a childlikeness to them because they don't have this long extended history. They don't have these societal cultural lessons. They don't have all these other things. So it is interesting in that regard. And Phelan, I think, has a good setup for being, I mean, like, we know at the very least that she manipulated and abused Kaith. And so, like you're saying for an Axis idea that Emmett Selk, that charismatic villain, I feel like now rewriting this, there could be a great chance where, especially as trends have shifted for something more like the gray areas, ambiguous, compelling characters, that we've seen more and more media and hero stories and stuff like that. I do see a version of this where the Nightmare Court becomes that, and Phelan, or whoever it is as a leader, is deeply charismatic and compelling in the case that she makes for her people, without that like comical villainous aspect. Which, I mean, hey, maybe if we do get future stories, that would be a place to really evolve that narrative or that idea and how the figures within these different organizations are redefining themselves in this post-draconic cycle world. But there's so much potential. I do really love the idea and the seeds of this story. It just felt like, yeah, they didn't have the full scope to realize it in a way that, you know, like, you just keep going back to it like, oh, that was so thought-provoking, like, that's so cool, like, you know? But all the materials to have that kind of story beat are here.
Yeah, I think it's enough for me to be like, I think if I was, like I said to the kind of crew, for like if I'd played it originally, like I would have been like my thoughts would have been very different to how they probably are now. Now, knowing that isn't there, it does feel like my heart has been robbed kind of this experience, which is kind of what Ornax was saying earlier. So to continue my thought of what I think, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the experience. I also completely forgotten that was existing, and I don't know if I've ever done that specific part. So I think, you know, as everyone says, there's different ways that tell stories now as well. They don't really use that same setup as well, having the two figures kind of sitting opposite each other either. I actually love that, but I do think it's disconnected at points as well, which is kind of unfortunate. So I'm glad they don't kind of do that now. I'm glad they do it in the world with the speech bubbles, etc. I think that's a lot better. I think the fights are kind of fun. They're okay, you know. I mean, they're not always the best anyway. I think they definitely get better from Harmford's onwards, but yeah. I mean,
we're still, you know, for all intents and purposes, our characters are like level 25,
exactly,
so they're still learning how to press buttons. And so they're not going to have the most intricate fights yet.
Did they unlock? They unlocked most of the skills by then, I guess.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I would say with the scaling of leveling at the moment, you would probably unlock a decent amount of your utilities if you reach one.
You've unlocked your utilities. No elite skill. I think only one trait line.
Yeah, so you're just getting your bearings.
That's what I was on, because I was 21, and 21 was trait line. First one, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And
I'm curious, how much have you leveled?
All of it.
No. I mean, since we started playing through the story, have you actually leveled? Is it?
Oh yeah, I'm level 25.
More effective now, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
And I've been running around, but remember, I've got account experience gained as well.
Yeah.
Like just basic. That's the base. I haven't used any food or anything, so whatever that is, which is considerable, right?
The account experience boosts are only on combat experience, though, so it wouldn't be actually that much.
It's 37%. It's not too. It's considerable. I mean, I think they do give you more experience, though. I think their idea is they want to pump you through a little bit more, right? And the map exploration is more about getting those legendaries, I guess, than anything else.
I think it's probably a smart thing to do that, because especially since when they redid all of the new player experience, right? we weren't sure if they were gonna remove again the every 10 level requirements or not, but they didn't go that route. So I think, yeah, trying to just like funnel people through in a way that you get the experience quick enough. And I don't feel like with the early leveling experience in Guild Wars 2 that the game gets so overwhelming so fast that, you know, shortening those little diversions in between those major story beats is like a bad thing or leaves you completely at a loss, you know?
I like
No, it's
what
definitely
Fornax
better
said last
actually
week.
because I think it's better because I think we didn't like the pauses in between the story steps, like having to get to level 20, not really knowing where to go before the first story step and stuff like that. Before level 10. So yeah, I think giving more experience early is good.
Was it Fornax you said last week about like how you enjoyed just not having that as a barrier? Like you could challenge yourself at a lower level maybe by doing like, you know, the story at whatever level you wanted to do it. I like that idea still. I still think they should just bring that back.
I don't like them like limiting what I can do and where I can go, and I just, if, as I said, I mean, the first time I played World of Warcraft, I ran across the burning steps, dying every 5 feet because I was like level 4 because I didn't realize I had to use the deep run tram in Stormwind to get to where I needed to go in Ironforge.
Yeah.
But that was my choice. Okay, I get to be as dumb as I want to in the games, and you know, I don't like the kind of the kiddie child rail like
It's the handheld
ball
holding.
locks. Yeah, I don't like that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna die. Death isn't the drawback it used to be, so just let me get on with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to see if they were able to redesign some of these beats and story beats, or even just some of the combat instances. I don't think they ever would be able to necessarily, because there are so many little side options and different things that you could pick or choose or do. Although, of course, in the like core game itself, it eventually funnels to the same points. So you have those where I think they could maybe do something. But it would be really interesting to see if they were to refurbish some of this at this point, or even just like redo a couple of those fights or things to make it a little bit more interesting, test you a little bit more on certain aspects of what you're learning as you play. But all that to say, I do think this is a good starting point for players. I definitely don't think it is the most like mind-numbing story that I've ever encountered in like an MMO. You know what I mean?
Oh no,
There is
absolutely
good stuff,
not.
like,
Not at all.
No.
there's good stuff there. There are good moments. There's great parts of the core game experience, like obviously that kept us all in it, and we wanted to play it. And then if you stick in there, you get a lot of the other stuff, and now you get season 1, which is so great too, because right after you get through the core game experience, you're going to get something that is a little bit more of like a mixture of old and new storytelling ideologies within the game. And I think that definitely, I hope that really like helps bridge the gap a bit for new players coming in.
I'm excited for, I guess, yeah. I mean, I can imagine them. I do wonder what it would be like if they could redo that. It's just not worth it, is it? It's not worth their time. Like they've got so much to do, and we're already like people are already getting just a bit testy, I will say, about the fact that the last story was already short, right? So I don't think it's ever going to happen. It'd be interesting to see what they could do, what they would want to do. I think one thing that was interesting from, I can't remember who was saying it, but they were talking about, you know, I think it was Rook actually, about the different kind of options and knowing what more about the Nightmare Core and like the choice, like what if it would be like if we could become them, etc., etc. And I think there was this big idea with Heart of Thorns, like before it came out, that there was always going to be this thing where we could like maybe create a character that was going to be, you know, on Mordremoth's side, and like, you know, all the Sylvari were going to become this enemy faction. I think there was always this hope, like this always, not hope, but like kind of fun theory around that was always around. Like you could have these different, I don't know, interactions, and I don't know what they are because I haven't played Heart of Thorns on the Sylvari, so maybe there is some stuff there that I don't. But you know, the idea I've gotten is that, you know, that's not really something that was there or even an option in the actual story itself. So, you know, that could have been a fun thing they would maybe have done to have like maybe some more faction kind of oriented stuff going on. But I don't know. It was always a fun thing. I remember talking about it in I think it was like in the PvP tournament where we were like, kind of like advertising for Heart of Thorns. Oh no, it's during the panel with like Bogotter and Peachy and Prairie Gamer when we were doing the show. I think we were talking about that. We were like, oh, are they going to be like a new faction or something and all this kind of stuff, and we were so wrong. It was just like, damn. Sometimes. Okay, well, that is probably going to be... We're going to end it there for today. We're not going to play any more story, which is where I kind of wanted to get the idea of what people thought. Is there any other thoughts and theories that people have, or they're looking forward to finding out or playing in the next kind of chapter? I can't remember what the next chapter is, actually. I'm going to have a look at what it is. What is it?
So when we start to do Priory, Vigil, and Whispers, I believe.
Excelente. Okay, so we're kind of getting into a little bit more of the linear side of things, but we've still got a choice. We've still got a choice to go. Big choice. Oh, that's a good point. What are we going to choose?
What do you mean?
I guess we'll have to discuss.
I mean, this is a library.
You want to go full Sierra? I mean, full Sylvari and go with, Sierra. Sierra. What's her name again?
Sierra.
We're gonna do that. Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. I guess we'll have to debate. Make a case if we want to join.
It's true. We might have to. I know it's called the Lightbringers. We might have to.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's true. I think we're gonna have to.
I don't know. Maybe we can do a vote. We can do a vote.
Tybalt, though, he's so cute.
He is very
That's true, and we will have some fun
so bad
times
for Forgel. Everyone's just like, and Forgel, you're gross. Get over there.
Nobody cares about Forgel.
Not a single person.
Oh, I cared about him on his
Don't lie.
last. No, hold on. I cared about him on his literal last line of dialogue, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of heartbreaking. I wish I'd given any shits about him."
What was his last line of dialogue? Was it like, I wish someone cared about
didn't
me.
his kid die or something?
About his
and that's
daughter who
why?
died, I think,
Yeah.
and he's I won't. I don't know, but he's like, I think he says something about, I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think he says something along those lines, where, he's like, I'm gonna protect you, like I couldn't protect her or something. I don't remember exactly, but it kind of hits those moments, those heartstrings. And yeah, I think he's just the saddest, weakest of the bunch in the way that they communicated your relationship with him or who he is, which is unfortunate, but.
Wow.
That was a Forgel conclusion.
So evil and mean, everyone here. On that note, this is the Darkbringers podcast, as the Nightmare Court said to the...
Yes, I'm not a Lightbringer anymore. No. I'm a Darkbringer.
That's it. Yes, that's very good impression of how they would sound.
Did I mention I'm evil?
Welcome to the podcast of agony.
Places where fun comes to die. Are you enjoying yourself? Stop it.
Amazing.
Really the Nightmare Court.
Well done,
That's
everyone.
Nightmare Court. Yeah,
very good. Very good. Okay, so next week's podcast, 1 p.m. Pacific ish, 1 to 1:30 p.m. Pacific ish, kind of how we're going to continue our playthrough, unless there's some brand new news or we think of another topic to do. But I think we're just going to keep rolling through this because it's kind of been fun and it's pretty chill. Kroof, tell us what you do, where you do it.
Hi, I do stuff over on YouTube, Kroof. Also here on Twitch, Kroof_. If you want to catch up with some memes, go over to my Twitter. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lovely, lovely time.
Excellent. It's been good to have you. I'm glad you're back.
Sorry if I was I'm so tired.
It's okay.
Sorry if I was low energy today.
No, you're not at all. You're fine. Fornax. Hello.
Hi.
Tell us what you do. What you do. Bling.
Oh, I'm in combat. Oh God. Okay, hang on. I'm.
Wait, what?
Hi, I'm Fornax. I'm in game. You got me in game. I'm just gaming now. I'm not even in a podcast. I'm just gaming. Hey, I'm Fornax.
It's cool, right? Finding out about the zone again. I'm loving it. I'm gonna do this during my subathon tomorrow. Probably. I'm
lovely.
Enjoying it.
I am actually. I haven't been through the car game in so long. I feel like we're a bit old jaded here because we've played the game so much. Thinking about a new player experiencing this world is just.
I love it.
So good.
Yeah. I love
right?
it. I love this story. I really enjoyed that, honestly. I just genuinely did. It was fun. It was good times.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Phonax. I make Guild Wars 2 content over on YouTube. I have actually done a stream in the past month, so technically I do Twitch stream as well. And yeah, that's me. I don't know, play games. I don't know.
Play games, do stuff. Yes.
Do stuff. Don't take drugs, etc. Yeah.
And if you do it safely. Rookery, tell us what you're doing.
Hi! I play a lot of MMOs, but mostly Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy 14 over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv Rookery, and that's spelled ROOKURI. You can also find videos from me on YouTube, touching on story lore, and a lot of my reactions to various playthroughs of content and new content, story content in the game, where we discuss a lot of what we love about the games and a lot of the lore, story, and other character beats alongside it. And you can find me on Twitter at Rookery_. It's the only one that has that extra at the end. That's mostly where you can find me if I'm not on this podcast or on Eighth Right Radio podcast on Saturdays for Final Fantasy 14.
Do you like your custom command on the Twitch chat? Only dragons?
My only dragons as well that I have. Thank you so much, Reader Geek. Yes, very important. You have to be a tier 3 sub and a super secret supporter member, and then you get an invitation to the only dragons. So I can't guarantee that this is real. It might be a joke.
Okay, awesome to have you back as well. Boots, tell us what you do and where you do. You've got some new videos there because you've been pumping out some content recently. Haven't you? Your adventure content stuff? Tell us about things.
I've been having fun. I've been doing the adventures. I'm going through the adventures and trying to get top 500 technically on all of them.
Nice.
And I've been, but you know, I do it and then I'm like, oh, try a little bit longer, and then
5 hours later,
20 hours later, yeah. But there's one of them recently. It's not up yet. It'll be, I think, in 4 videos from now, or 3 videos from now. Sanctum Scramble. Someone helped me out with Sanctum Scramble. I did it. I got top 500. I think I'm like as maximized as I could possibly be. Yet top 250 is like 30 seconds faster, and I have no idea how it's possible.
Oh, wow.
Hacks?
I think there's either, I think there's mesmer, like I think they got people to do mesmer portals maybe, or something, because
get super keen with this stuff, man.
Some sort of bug I think is going on there, and I don't want to replicate the bug. I just want to know if it was done legitly, so I could rest and say, you know, I have done this as well as I can, legitly. And if it's bugs and stuff that I understand, I'm stopping now. But I'm not sure.
Reply in the chat, please, for in the comments, please, on YouTube, if you know a way that you can assist Boots with his challenge.
Yeah, because I'm like 445 overall now, and I think, and it's like a minute faster than gold, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, if you want to follow me and what I do, twitch.tv/JebroUni as well for all the things. Mainly streaming on the weekends, mostly on Friday for the podcast, and then the Saturday. If you want to check out the podcast as well, it's anchor.fm/JebroUni. Also, it's changed to Spotify for podcasters now, so I'm not sure if that URL might change. It might do. At the moment, it's still taking you to the things, but otherwise you can see on twitch.tv/JebroUni in the panels below the stream. You can find the audio, the video, the YouTube, the socials, all the things. Twitter is the same. It's JebroUnity. If you want to follow any of the amazing hosts we've had here today as well, please make sure you go and follow Rookery, Kroof, Boots, and Fornax, aka the Crown Herald, and we will see you next time on the Lightbringers podcast for more Sylvari Story, level 30 plus. So we do know how long this is going to take us roughly to do the core story. It's going to be another 8-ish weeks, I guess, or 7 weeks. Hopefully there's going to be some stuff we can pack in between, because we do want to talk about other things in the game. But it's been awesome to see you so far. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a wicked week, day, time, month, year, decade, century. Bye. Oh, and we got our new art. It looks amazing. Yay! Here's the gnomes, legend. Thank you very much. Bye.
Yay!
Yay!